Introducing OPPO's new phone in the market. This is the Reno T series, which we were told the T actually stands for technology, and some of the high-end technologies are also packed within this series of phones too. Today we have with us is the OPPO Reno8 T 5G. There is another 4G version which we do not have with us, and there are some differences between the two. I have to say that this device does come with a few unique features as well, but is it actually a good phone? Well, let's find out. Starting off, I'll just quickly mention about the design of this phone. This phone uses the same design language as the OPPO A78 5G that we recently reviewed, but this band with the glossy material is actually larger, and it says 108 megapixel portrait camera instead. Honestly, while I do think that it's a nice design, maybe just don't reuse the design so close between phone launches. The OPPO Reno8 T 5G also comes with the Reno Glow as well. So the one that we have here is in the sunrise gold color, and from what I can see here, yes, the color does shift depending on what angle we are looking at it. One notable highlight is that OPPO told us that this phone has a curved edge design and also a curved screen. Yes, even a budget, well, I would say budget phone has curved edges as well. With that in mind, now let's talk about the display. It's fairly simple. It's a 6.7-inch AMOLED screen with a 120Hz refresh rate and a resolution of 2412 by 1080 pixels in resolution. What's interesting is of course that curved screen that we mentioned earlier. If we look at it from the front, the screen isn't curved that much. However, if we look at the curvature itself, there we can see what OPPO is hiding, the bezels. I mean, yeah, it's using the same tricks like what we've seen before on other smartphones. By having a curved screen means that the display looks less confined, something like a luxury apartment with an infinity pool, something like that. However, even such a small curvature, it makes tempered glass screen protectors just almost impossible to apply without special guidance, special tools, and I'm speaking from my past experience actually, because I'm using the Galaxy S series and all of them have curved screens, and it's just very difficult to find tempered glass screen protectors that work properly with those screens. But the colors out of this display is actually quite good, covering nearly 100% of both DCI-P3 and sRGB color gamuts while having a max delta E of slightly higher than 3, but also a super low average delta E number. And I would say that overall this display is good. The maximum brightness is at 500 nits, which I think is okay, but might have some issues if you want to use this display outdoors under direct sunlight. What I want to nitpick here though is that the location of the fingerprint scanner, which I think it's just way too low and it makes the phone very not ergonomic to use. Now let's talk about the cameras. This is going to be a weird one. Again, like what I said many times before, depth sensors and also 2 megapixels fixed focus macro lenses should not exist anymore. But still, the OPPO Reno8 T has two usable cameras. We'll talk about the main camera first. Since the weather was gloomy for the past few weeks, the outdoor pictures shown here isn't exactly ideal, but as you can see here, it does look rather good. The colors are good, but the dynamic range could have been better. Pictures like this just don't look particularly appealing because the trees are just way too dark. When it comes to dimly lit environments though, this is where the phone struggles the most, I would say. I tried taking a picture of my foot and I got this. Do remember that this phone's cameras do not have OIS, so the pictures will be a bit smeary in a darker scene. The second usable camera on this phone is actually a microscope camera. Yes, the microscope camera is similar to the OPPO Find X3 Pro from about 2 years ago, I think. But anyway, while that sounds good, I have a huge gripe with this camera. Instead of having a ring light around the microscope lens, this phone will just automatically turn on the flashlight instead. That results in all pictures taken, especially indoor microscope shots, having a bright white spot around the bottom right corner of the picture, while the top left corner is always the darkest. If you are in an environment that is bright enough though, then you can take some good microscope pictures with this phone. Getting it in focus is a challenge on its own, but we are not going to talk about it here. Still, I'm happy to see a microscope camera rather than those 2 megapixel fixed focus macro cameras. How about the performance then? Well, it's powered by the Snapdragon 695 5G chipset, and honestly, I can play Genshin Impact at the lowest graphical settings, and I did have a pretty decent experience overall, even though there are a lot of stuttering here and there. It won't look good either, but I think it's playable. How about the software then? Powered by the ColorOS 13 on top of Android 13, the experience found here is no different from other OPPO phones that we have reviewed recently. The settings menu and overall usability of ColorOS is good, and I especially like the shelf feature that is also now available on OPPO's ColorOS 13 devices. And as usual, I am not a fan of the bloatwares that I included, especially the hot games, hot apps, and also OPPO's own app market that kept pushing ads via notification. I just find it really annoying. Then the battery life. It comes with a 4800 mAh battery, and with our standardized battery life test with PC Mark at 100 nits of brightness, the phone can get about 12 hours, which I think is rather decent. The charging speed is also rather quick. With a 67 watt charger, it can charge from 15 all the way to completion in about 43 minutes, and the temperature is always kept below 37.5 degrees Celsius. That is good. While I want to talk more about the charger, I think it is best that if we leave this whole topic for another video where we talk about the switching power supply and how the voltages and numbers can trick you. Do subscribe so you don't miss out on that video when it eventually comes out. I don't know when. A few more things to mention. The OPPO Reno8 T 5G comes with a USB 2.0 port, which is obvious given the category of this phone is sitting on, and it also has one dedicated nano SIM card slot and another hybrid card slot. And finally, for the price of 1,799 ringgit, I just gotta say that this phone is very expensive. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of special features going on, like the curved screen, better comfort for gripping, microscope camera, 67 watt of fast charging, all of that good stuff. However, I want to ask you the question though, are those your priority? Maybe those features are a priority for some people, but that is up for you to judge. I'm merely presenting what I found out, adding my opinion and presenting you with all of the data about this phone so you can make your own judgment. So do let me know about your thoughts on the OPPO Reno8 T 5G down in the comment section below, and we'll see you guys in the next one.